Hi, I'm Najera. I'm the appraiser of this video, and oftentimes people call me up and they want to know, well, what exactly do you do when you do an appraisal? So the purpose of this video is to demonstrate what I'm going to be doing when I measure a house. Now, we're going to concentrate mostly on the exterior part of this house. I'm going to go around the house and point out some different items. If you're a realtor or you happen to be a new home buyer, this would be great to look at because I'm going to point out different aspects of the exterior of the house, which the appraiser looks at, as well as the home inspector. Okay, the house that we're going to be inspecting today it was built in about 1955. According to the assessor, it's about 1,550 square feet. It's on a cul-de-sac street, and normally the cul-de-sac streets are fairly quiet. There's not a lot of through traffic going on, so it's a good place to live and a good street to be on. Normally, this particular house is at the end of the cul-de-sac street, so it's narrow in the front and expands out kind of a pie-like shape in the back. And the lot size on this house is about 1/3 of an acre, which is about 15,000 square feet, I believe. Should about do it. Let me know what. Okay, here we are again in front of the home that we're going to do the inspection on. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, according to the assessor. But normally what I do is I usually walk up to the front door and I introduce myself to the owner. And I give him my business card as well. And I ask he or she a few questions. For instance, do they have any animals on the property? Is everybody awake? I'm going to basically tell them I'm going to be taking interior pictures, but for now I'm going to measure the outside of the property. Okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start measuring the front, and I'm going to start with the garage here. And normally what I'll do is I use the old-fashioned tape here, and I also have a laser printer back here that I use as well to measure the home. Before I begin, though, the measuring of the garage, there are a couple things I wanted to mention to you, and which you can help the appraiser as he measures the property. You can also make sure that we have easy access around the house, that there's no bushes or trees or any items that might get in our way as we measure the exterior of the house. That would be a great help. And also, if you can make sure that any animals are tied up, we have easy access to the exterior of the house. Last thing is if you can turn off the sprinklers for us. Don't put them on that morning because we don't want to step on any mud puddles or wet spots. So it'd be great if you can cut those sprinklers off possibly 24 hours before we get to your property. But I'm going to measure the garage. One thing I want to say about the garage is that this particular house, like most homes, all have the garage door. A lot of people, what they do is they convert their house into living space. So what you don't want to do is take the garage door off if you're going to do make some living space on the inside of your garage. Leave the garage door on, because if you take the garage door off and you have somewhat of a solid wall here, then we get into problems. You get into code violations and so forth, may not be permitted, and it presents a whole lot of different problems on a functional obsolescence basis. So keep the garage door on, and for the most part you can do anything you want on the inside as long as the garage door is operable. So for now what we're going to do is I'm going to measure the outside of the house. I've got my old measuring tape here, as well as my laser printer. So basically what I do is I pretty much just put it on this corner and then I go around the house, measure this side here, and we've got about 21 feet here on this side. Okay, and that about does it. Okay, I'm in the front side of the home still, and I'm going to be measuring the porch area here. Use my laser printer to get the outside measurements. And we got about 4 feet over on this side here. And I'm going to measure from here under the porch area, and that one happens to be about 17 feet here. All right, so I have my clipboard where I'm going to do my sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and write those measurements down. All right, notice this particular house does have a porch, if you can see that. It's certainly a great amenity to have, keeps the rain out, and looks very attractive. So, and the house also has rain gutters, as you can see, that cover predominantly most of the house in the front and the back. One thing about the rain gutters I want to mention to you, during the rainy season, there's a lot of leaves that can accumulate up there. So what you do want to do, possibly once or twice a year, you want to check these rain gutters, get all the leaves out of there so everything flows well. Okay, so that about does it for this one. Okay, here we are continuing with the measurement of the front. I'm going to swing my laser printer over this way. Okay, and that gives me about 20 feet over on this side. Laser printer is great. You can do a lot with it very quickly. Put the laser right here. I get on this wall here. Okay, and that brings me about 17 feet over on this side. And we're going to continue on with the rest of the house here. Okay, normally what I'd do is I'd continue measuring, probably with a tape. I'll be measuring this side over here. Notice here is the gas meter here. Now I particularly I see the gas meter, I don't smell anything, but the home inspector would probably has a special tool, and he would go ahead and check for any gas leaks on this one. There is, this is on a raised foundation, so I would look for a crawl hole. It's either outside or possibly inside the house somewhere. Could be most likely in a closet. This particular house has steel windows, and they open up with a latch type. You just kind of crank them and they opened up. I could tell this particular house has not been improved, especially on the outside, very much. And when we go inside, we'll take a look at that as well, see if there's any improvements. This particular house has a brick chimney, and basically what I look for is any major cracks in the chimney. This particular house, on the very top, like most homes, it does have what I call an amber cover, which they all should have in case any of these embers or something fly out. It protects the home as well as the neighborhood, actually, as well. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about sheds here. The owner of this property is into trains, and he calls this the train shack. I happen to be in the city of Garden Grove, and if you have a shed that's 120 square feet, basically 10 by 12, you do not need a permit. Every city is different, but that's what it is for the city of Garden Grove. This one happens to be 10 by 12. We do not need a permit for this shed. Okay, next what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be measuring the back side of this particular house here, as well as the large aluminum covered patio that we have here. The house also has quite a bit of a backyard. We're on a third of an acre here, and it's block walls along the perimeter of the house here. We've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 neighbors in the back, and all enclosed with a 6-foot high block wall. Okay, often what I do when I do the exterior of the home, I'm looking at the possibility of any exposed electrical wires. So one thing that I do, I take a look at the electrical box here and just glance at it. There's no exposed wires here. Everything seems to be numbered correctly. There is a master switch on the very top. Most of them have that. This one looks good. Okay, here we are in the backyard. It's a really large backyard here. One thing I noticed, there are no sprinklers in this particular house, and there's no air conditioning. I did not see air conditioning unit on the outside. Many fruit trees in the back. That's a big plus amenity. A large aluminum covered patio. And one other thing that we have, it is possible to, through here, we can probably put maybe a small boat or an additional car. Oftentimes people do have RVs or boats, and they love it when they can store it next to their house. Okay, before or after the inspection, the appraiser will have to do considerable gather dataing analysis before he can form an opinion of value. This can include many hours of additional research and data analysis. So hope it gives you an idea of what the exterior of the inspection entails. And for now, that pretty much ends the video number 1. Hope the realtors and new home buyers have gotten some good useful information here. Next video, we're going to be going in and showing you what happens on the interior of the house. Till then,